Okay, now we've seen how to add integers, and we even have two rules that we can use to help us with that. Let's use those rules, and I'll show another technique as well, and we're just going to do a bunch of examples. So practice, practice, practice. If you're not practicing these on your own and it's confusing, you need to do that. That's the only way you're going to get better at this. So let's do a bunch of examples. So here on this first one, I got 6 plus -3. So since they have different signs, I'll just subtract the numbers, and I'll get 3. And I'm going to give that 3 the sign of the larger number, which is 6. So my answer will be +3. All right, down here, 4 plus -4. Well, we talked about in the last video that if I'm adding the same number, but they just have different signs, like this 4 and -4, it always cancels out and you're just left with 0. So this should be pretty quickly recognized. Over here, -1 plus -7, well, they have the same sign. It's kind of like I lost $1 and then I lost $7. Well, how many dollars did I lose altogether? Well, I lost $8. Or we can just add the numbers and keep the sign the same. All right, here I have added the number line because I want to show another visual. So -6 plus 8. So if I start over here at -6, I can count to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'll get my answer, no problem. But a smarter way to do it would be, hey, well, let's just get to 0 first. So if I'm at -6, to get to 0, well, I would add 6. So I'm going to pull 6 from that 8 to get me to 0. And then what's left over after I've moved part of that 8 to make 0? Well, what's left over is 2. And we could write it like this. We could say, instead of -6 plus 8, we just did -6 plus 6 and then plus 2. So this 6 plus 2, well, that's just 8. So we haven't changed the problem at all. We've just broken things up to help it make it a little bit easier. Because it's nice when we can work with zeros when we can. So after I add the 6, I'll just add the 2 from 0, and that's really easy to do, and we're left with +2. You can, of course, use the rules that we've been talking about, but eventually this is probably a good way to do it, as it's pretty quick. And we'll do a few more examples, or at least one more here with that. So let's do it with this one, -5 plus 12. So if I'm starting at -5 and I want to add 12, well, let's just get to 0 first. Let's have that be our stopping point. So I'm going to add 5 to get to 0. Well, how much more would I need to add to be able to say, well, I've added a total of 12? Well, I would have to add 7 more. So that'll get me to 7. So I added 5. I added 7. That gives me a total addition of 12. And we landed here at +7. Again, if I wanted to use the rules, these numbers have different signs. So I'm just going to subtract the numbers. Do it in a different color. 12 minus 5 is 7. And then I'm going to give 7 the sign of the larger number, which in this case is 12. So it's going to be a +7, or just regular old 7. All right, down here, we'll keep using the rules. -50 plus -12, well, they have the same sign. So I'm just going to add the numbers. 50 plus 12 is 62. And we'll keep the sign the same, so I'm going to stick a negative there because I had negatives to start with in the two numbers I was adding. So -62. Up here, 10 plus -9, these have different signs. So I can just subtract them. 10 minus 9 is 1. And we're going to give 1 a positive sign because 10 is the larger number. So that's our answer. Another way to think about it is, hey, I got $10. But then I decided to spend 9 of it, or I lost $9. So I'm just going to be left with $1. All right, down here, -11 plus -8, they have the same signs. So again, I could think about it as I lost $11, and then I lost $8 more. So altogether, I lost $19, but since we're losing, it's going to be a negative sign. So -19. All right, last 4 examples here. 100 plus -15. Again, I won $100, or I got $100, and then I lost 15. So I can just do 100 minus 15. That's another way to write that. If you're adding a negative, it's like subtracting a positive. So we'll have 85 as our answer. All right, over here, 48 plus -26. We can use our rules, of course. Subtract the signs and keep the sign of the larger one, or use what we just said. Adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting a positive. So this is just like saying 48 minus 26, which is going to be 22. All right, -21 plus 22. So -21 is going to be somewhere over here. So let's just get to 0 first. Well, if this is -21, to get to 0, I'm going to add 21. All right, so I just did -21 plus 21. Well, I have to add 22. So I just got to add one more, because that 21 plus 1 is going to be 22 total. So again, we've just split the number up to make it a little bit easier so we can find that 0 checkpoint and then just slap on whatever else we have at the after that. So since we're adding just 1 extra, I'm just going to jump over to the 1 here. So altogether, I added plus 21 and then plus 1, which is a total of plus 22. And I landed at +1. I'll put our answer in yellow. Again, you can always use the rules, or go back and rewatch this if this isn't making sense. Or go watch another video. There's plenty of them out there. Okay, -2 plus 10 plus 5. So let's just do it one step at a time. -2 plus 10. Well, those numbers have different signs. So that's going to give us, if we do then different signs, we'll subtract. So that'll give us 10 minus 2, which is 8. And we'll take the sign of the larger of the two numbers that we just added, which is 10. So it's going to be a +8 because it's +10. And then I'll add that 5, which is going to give me 13.